Welcome back, everybody. Today's video has been inspired by the great man Khezu himself, as I recently watched his analysis of XG, Extreme Gaming's team fighting at TI, and I was very impressed with not only his breakdown, but with the execution that Extreme Gaming showed. And I just got done watching Extreme Gaming versus Tundra, where I felt like I got to witness a masterclass in team fighting once again from Extreme Gaming, and I would like to take the honor of analyzing and breaking down this one for you. Without further ado, let's jump into game 2 of the upper bracket first round, Extreme Gaming versus Tundra, and break down a crucial Roche fight that ended up deciding the game. So before we break down the fight itself, let's talk about the state of the game. Extreme Gaming's up by 5,000 gold. Roche is respawning sometime in the near future. We know that it's going to be 30 seconds. And there's a stalemate going on where Tundra's kind of camping this high ground and Extreme Gaming is camping this high ground. Now, what's important to note is despite this 5k lead, when we look at the Dota Plus win probability, it's actually favoring Tundra. And this was my feeling that I had during the game. And the reason why I believe it's favoring Tundra is because Extreme Gaming is heavily reliant on the single target burst of Slardar, Corrosive Haze, plus the clinks from Ame with items like Daedalus and Nullifier. While on the other hand, Tundra's lineup has a hero Abaddon that's able to frontline really well, doesn't die to this burst damage, and they have a lot of AoE counter initiation and the ability to fight around the Pugna ward, and the counter initiation coming from the Earthshaker as well as the Sand King. So, when we break this down on paper, it feels really difficult for Extreme Gaming to take the fight that they want. It's like they're only going to present Abaddon to you as a target, but you also can't really afford to all in him at all. So let's talk about their approach. So mid lane in these type of scenarios, the creep wave is very important for both teams to push. What's often going to happen is the teams will put their most survivable hero to push the wave, Abaddon on one side, Quap on the other with a bunch of heroes behind him ready to protect him and initiate using the clinks from long range. Now XG, they've seen Abaddon here, so they're going to try to smoke all the way around, taking a full loop where Abaddon is no longer in front. Notice how Tundra is purposely dangling Abaddon in front of them. But Tundra, if you give it a little bit of time to marinate, they don't know where XG is right now. Like, if we pause and we go to Tundra's player perspective, they have absolutely no idea where XG is right now. They're going to push with Abaddon. They're going to D-ward. So this gives them the impression that XG is not here anymore. Because if they're allowed to push this creep wave and there's a ward that's allowed to be killed, that means that XG, they just wouldn't give that up for free. So they must be somewhere in this area. So while Abaddon is killing the creep wave and Snapfire is dewarding, note that it's actually the Pugna who has buyback who's going to stand in front ready to break the smoke. And while they are repositioning their heroes, Tundra is going to decrep himself on Toby to make sure he doesn't get bursted, and Abaddon's going to walk in front. Now this is where the team fight's about to break out. Before XG initiates, I would like to show the parallel that Khezu shows in the team fight of XG versus Aurora in his video. In this video, Khezu is going to highlight the positioning that XG takes and this arbitrary boundary that none of them are going to cross because that is effectively controlled by the opponent team.
The only one that is allowed to cross this line. No one else is allowed to cross this line. Only XXS to use his body and Ame to swing out of it to try and get kills.
So we see a similar formula coming out from XG. We see Tundra controlling this area and none of them are going to cross this line behind the Abaddon because that's danger zone. And we've seen a Slardar, similar to the Mars in his replay, has itemized to be the one that goes in. He has a pipe, he has a Lotus to counter the stuns and debuffs, and he has a BKB Ags. So this is armor, this is HP regen, this is magic resistance, this is status resistance from the Ags. Once he blinks in, it's really uncomfortable for Tundra to counter initiate. But they also can't commit onto this Abaddon. So what are they going to do? They're going to go on Abaddon, force out the ultimate, and they are going to immediately retreat backwards. Notice how nobody on the side of XG, half of which haven't even broken the smoke, have put themselves in any sort of danger. They forced the Abaddon ulti. The reason that it is difficult for them to teamfight in the first place, because they have no easy target to go on. And now you're left with, how do we force the fight in the next 65 seconds that Abaddon has no ulti for? They are left with two options. One is to chase into Tundra and force a fight that way, perhaps smoking up and chasing further. The other way is to force the objective that is initially in question, the Roshan, to try to force Tundra out of position to contest them. They are going to choose option number 2, where they are going to go into the Roche pit. Notice how they also are dewarding so that Tundra no longer has information that is necessary to know if anyone's gone into the Roche pit. They're going to put Slardar in the Roche pit. They're going to kill the Dominator creep. and they're going to try to force a reaction. Notice that they are not rushed. They have to get this done sometime in the next 35 seconds, but it doesn't have to be any sooner than that. And what Tundra's going to do in response is they are going to spam Earthshaker Fissures plus Shard with his Aftershock to try to stall this out. So they catch on to this on the side of XG. They're forcing the reaction as best they can, and they now keep going back into the Roche Pit, killing the creeps once again, killing the illusion, once again acting like they're going in. So, as predicted, they are forcing the Earthshaker to cast Fissure again to stall out the Roche. They do not know if Klinx is in there killing it right now on the side of Tundra. It's almost as if they know exactly how long the cooldown is on Fissure because they are ready to counterplay this immediately. As you see XXS walk out, Earthshaker, in predictable fashion, is going to try to stall out because he has no vision, and XM is going to blink dagger BZM with his Ag Scepter without even vision of him. Watch this. He's going to blink in, cancel the blink of BZM. That's going to force Soxa to walk up and help him, get the cookie off, thus giving XXS the two-man setup stun with the shard, so thus debuffing both of these, one of which is the crucial counter-initiation teamfight AoE Earthshaker. BKB's perfect timing right before the Sand King, gets the Quap ulti off, forces Crystallis away from the fight, whose ulti's still on 10-second cooldown, by the way, and they manage to BKB the Echo Slam and chase down Tundra. What's important to note, similar to the assassination style that Ame had in the replay that Khezu analyzed, is that while all of this is going on, while these initiators are getting initiated onto the Earthshaker, look at where Ame is. He is not joining the rest of the fight. Q and Nex Nova are looking to connect to their two cores, but Ame is flanking around, catching the supports that are effectively zoned out by what's happening over here. And thinking they might live or be able to have some teamfight impact. No. Toby's removed. Snapfire's taken out. And even though Ame doesn't play a huge role in this, think about the fact of how they approach this fight. They bring down the Earthshaker with the minimum amount of resources that they need to. They finish off and zone the supports in the back with Ame. And then what you're going to see here is that Warlock is effectively canceling Sand King's ability to get out with his Golem, seeing the TP. And this is going to eventually lead to 33's death, coming from Ame here. As we fast forward, we're going to see Ame manages to chase him down. This two-pronged fight that XG has taken, for me, is the dissection of the way that Tundra wants to play this game. They not only force the Abaddon ulti over here, they force the Earthshaker to expose himself over here. They then force the enemy team to help their Earthshaker get the two-man stun, all with which the Abaddon ulti just came off cooldown. And suddenly this game-changing fight goes in favor of XG, and they end up taking game 2 in a convincing fashion. So this is one of the first games that I've gotten to watch in detail for XG during TI, and I can see why they might just be favorites for Ame to finally claim his first Aegis. I can't wait to watch more of TI and all the exciting team fights to come. A lot of these games are going hyper late, despite there being a lot of aura buying and a lot of Helm of the Dominators, and I believe this type of late game decision making is going to decide who claims the crown. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Boom.